I've been a recording engineer and producer for about 35 years now. Living in New York City, I was in Washington, D.C. during the 70s with National Public Radio. And in the 80s, I moved to New York City and I was a recording engineer, freelance, until about 6 years ago when I started teaching at New York University. It's a new department called the Clive Davis Department of Recorded Music. And we have a new program which instructs students in the production of music. And also they learn history and criticism. They also learn business, music business. So it's a much more holistic approach and much more realistic approach to the way the music industry is running these days. As a freelance recording engineer in New York City, you take any work that comes along because it's putting food on the table and money in your pocket. One day, I received a phone call from people at the Jim Henson Associates. They were looking for someone to do production for them. And in New York City, the Muppets would do all their home video productions and all the kind of interstitial pieces that might appear on Good Morning America and in various programs. They would do the film work in London, and they would do other work out in LA, but essentially in New York City for about 10 or 15 years. We did all the home video work for various projects. We even did pilots for Jim Henson, and so what began probably 15 years with doing production for Muppets. We did Webulous World of Dr. Seuss, which was a very interesting project because it was the first totally in-the-box television show. Everything was done with blue screen, and the Muppeteers would actually be doing everything. They'd be dressed in blue. All the sets were in blue, but on the screen, it was so believable. The light source was totally artificial, and as the camera panned, the set would pan. And the problem I saw with the show was it was so believable you couldn't believe that it was being done totally virtual. And so when you saw it on TV, you went, "Oh, what's the big deal?" But actually, it was the first show that was ever done like that. The Muppets, developed the software that was able to work that way. So a lot of shows we would do the home video version. The Muppet Treasure Island, we would do the wraparound and do that. But the one credit that most people would know that I've done is the home video C is for Cookie, and that's good enough for me. So all of my students, when I mention that, they all go, "Oh, you worked with Cookie Monster, of course." So, but it was fun. The one thing I always tried in my career was to be versatile. And so whenever there wasn't enough record work going around, I had a couple of weeks off. That always seemed to jive with 2 weeks of working with Muppets. So I was working constantly, all the time. And part of the nicest part was my children, as they were growing up, would come and either meet me for lunch, or in the summer, my son would come and work with me, and he would hang out for the entire day. He'd be there 12, 13 hours a day, hanging out in the set of a Muppet production. Would run scripts and make Xeroxes and all this kind of thing. So it was a great place for a kid to hang out and get to meet those characters. And they were able to actually to understand the difference between the reality and the fantasy. And so they could understand, Jim Henson was Kermit the Frog, but he was also Jim Henson. And it never destroyed it for them. So that was the best part. Things haven't changed that much. People still have portability when it comes to music. Carrying an MP3 is like a really nice version of a cassette. And so people still like to be able to take their music with them. They want to have it in the car, they want to have it on the beach, they want to have it on the bus, on the subway. And so what I could foresee happening is perhaps the reduction of the size of the devices that you're carrying with you. You won't be carrying as many devices as you're carrying. You might be carrying, everything might be on your phone, everything might be on a chip or something like that. No moving parts, that would be nice. No hard drives to fail. I think it might go in that direction. But it's really going to come down to the tune, the song, the performance. That's never going to change. People still have to create this art. So sort of like the technology just needs to improve. And so if we can improve the quality of these portable devices, I think that would be a major improvement in the life of a lot of people.